All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Speed Souls Charity Marathon here in the year 2022. We are here raising money for Save the Children, and upcoming now, we are going to be featuring off none other than Cadarev, who's going to be putting on a Tomb Raider 2013 any percent run. Take it away, Cadarev.
Hello, Speed Souls. I'll actually start straight away because there will be a longer cutscene where we can introduce ourselves, and I heard we're not quite on schedule, so let's do that. Run will start in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, that was fast. Yeah, so I'm Cadarev, hello. I'll be showing Tomb Raider 2013. Don't worry that this FMV is a bit quiet, that's normal sadly, but then you should hear something now. I'm not by myself, luckily. Hello, Robbie.
Hello. I'm Ruby. I also play this game sometimes.
Yeah, as far
Have
as
not done so for a while now, but
we'll see how we'll do. Yeah, so this is the first game in the most recent reboot of the Tomb Raider franchise / trilogy. There was one already on the, there were the 5 classic games on the PS1. Then Angel of Darkness happened on the PS2, and then there was the first trilogy, quote unquote. And then this, yeah, was the latest reboot. And Lara is in a bit of a pickle. So her crew got shipwrecked, and she's in not the best place, I guess. How to get out? I don't know. Any suggestions?
We're gonna learn soon that in this game, if you're in doubt, fire is always the answer.
Yeah, that seems like a solid plan. Yeah, so you might also be wondering, this is not a Souls game, which technically is correct, but you will also see quite a few elements basically make this a Souls game. More on this later. First, an incident.
Would you say that this is the best Souls game?
Well, no, obviously not, because it's not Demon Souls.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
So here I will straight go to main menu and then load back in. Why is that, Robbie?
Well, if you load back in from the menu, you get a couple of frames where you're in this animation and you can move at the same time. And in the animation, you don't have collision, so you can jump without collision, and then you go through walls, as we are shown here. And then
I hope this is still out of bounds. Oh god, is it
Caddy
out of
will
bounds? This is out of bounds.
stay out of bounds,
Clearly.
and do so for the entire intro, basically, because there's a skip. Or there's a section that we need to skip, and to get there out of bounds, we have to do the whole section out of bounds.
Yes, but it's very unforgiving.
So yeah, it's a very long section, and the payoff is all the way at the end.
Would be a shame if there were 2 jumps coming up right now that are not the most consistent.
Yeah, one
And
jump
I
here,
failed
that's
this.
annoying.
Oh well. So that's the downside. Don't worry about this guy. So the idea would have been to use that jump to get to the next ledge out of bounds, which would then have allowed us to be on top of this tunnel here, and stay out of bounds to skip the very last room, which, as Robbie said, is like the only thing we really skip, or would be able to skip. But now we can't. So now we'll...
Yeah, so usually this is like a reset point.
Yes.
Obviously, but
Now
oh well.
you'll get to see what we would have skipped. So
Now we get
not
the
a big
full
loss.
experience.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, obviously, like the start of the game, it's very tutorial heavy. So here you're supposed to learn how to use your torch to light different objects, and oh yeah, the torch you were supposed to collect earlier, but in that like QTE where the guy grabbed us from behind, you automatically get it, which is nice. Else it would be even worse.
What kind of contraption is this?
And I'm not very used to doing this puzzle, so I'm sure I'm doing this optimally.
I have no idea.
Okay. Can you not get stuck? Okay. I'm lighting the wrong one. Oh my god, please. Yes. What did just get launched there? Okay.
Just light the water on fire.
Yeah? Okay, I think that's enough. Okay. And then we give it a push or a shove, and then things explode. So we would have gotten back inbounds right after this barrier and bypassed all of this. Just imagine that we did that.
Ah, yes.
But now we also get the full dramatic music. What is happening? Why are there rocks appearing? Yeah, okay. Let's pretend that was normal. Maybe also good. Wait, actually, first, I hope that at least I can make up with it for with a smaller out of bounds right here on this next jump. Yes.
Smaller as in minuscule.
Smaller as in 5 seconds. So this bypasses a QTE. It saves like 5 to 10 seconds. So obviously making up all that time that I lost. And that's the intro of Tomb Raider 2013. Not very glitch heavy apart from the part where we were out of bounds. Which is mainly because we don't have any weapons yet. That's when things start to get interesting. Yeah.
Here the tooltip is actually wrong because it says mash left and right, but you have to alternate.
Yes. Very misleading. Sometimes also the prompt there stays up during the next part of the run, but I don't think it will because it disappeared during the loadings or the black screen. So that's always fun. But yeah,
Also,
go ahead.
also I see white vibes in the chat. I approve.
And hello, Cookie and Co. Yeah, so unmistakably this is Tomb Raider, which the game reminds us about now. And then we'll be on our way. Please do the thing. God damn it.
Why?
Because the intro to bounce in way, I don't know.
Oh yeah, right. You
So
get the camera stuck there sometimes.
yeah, in most
Or,
cases.
well, all of the time, except in marathons.
Yeah, in most cases the camera would just get stuck there and Lara would jump out of camera and yeah. But it snaps back once you're in that cutscene, so it's not really any time loss or anything, it just looks funny. Yeah, so still a bit of tutorials here, and the tutorial here is just hold forward. You can't fall down, we tried, so we literally, that's not what I wanted to do, that's what I wanted to do. Holding forward, something important for later on.
It's a very thematic thing in this game.
There you saw, so in general you will see me do scramble jumps most of the time, so scrambling followed by this jump. It's in most cases the fastest wave movement. And as you may have also seen there, I crossed that small gap after the checkpoint reload with a scramble jump, which allows me to not get a animation where Lara would just barely make it and then slowly get to the top of the ledge. But scramble jumping gives you a bit of a more range and allows you to stay in midair for a bit longer, which is just enough in this case to make it across without getting slowed down. Yeah.
Also, I see that you can roll in this game. One check mark of being Souls-like.
Yes, and since we're playing the good category, we can only roll after a scramble. And rolling is still pretty fast, but not as fast as scramble jumping in most cases. In some instances it is faster, which is why I rolled there. So for example, if there is strong wind, usually your jumps get slowed down. So that's when we will swap to rolling. Usually it's also pretty fast downhill. And also, speaking of Souls-likes, we also have bonfires in this game.
Ah, bonfire lit.
Yes, and you will be able to level up basically on them later on, so literally a Souls-like. Alright, but the weapon thing, I think we should rectify that. Oh,
Yeah.
a weapon, that's very useful. Hello.
Don't think he'll be needing that one.
Yes, but we do need it.
I can do this.
And then once we have the weapon, we will... why do I not get the... Oh, never mind, I get the cycle easily. Then we'll try to shoot a deer.
Just remember Roth's training.
God damn it. I shot the second arrow too early. So yeah, you have to space out your arrows a bit more, otherwise it doesn't get staggered. Yeah, like that. Makes more sense. Did it just face
First
plant? What
boss
happened?
down.
Yes. Will.
Right, back to camp.
Yeah, now we have a bow. And that's good. Let me
yeah.
showcase. I said let me showcase.
Uh-oh, what?
Patched. I'm not even embedded. What?
So, when you aim with a weapon,
Jeez.
the hitbox of
Thank
Lara
you.
gets a bit scuffed. So, yeah, what Caddy's doing here is getting like halfway into the door and then doing a bash backwards. So you can do like a bash attack and then turn around really quick. And that'll clip you through most doors in the game.
Yep. So we'll use that somewhat frequently once we get out of the starting part of the game and the run. So that was like we were able to skip into this bunker early. We were supposed to go back to the bonfire with our deer meat to replenish our food reserves, but turns out you don't have to do that. But we still had to kill the deer to progress, like to basically make this area load, progress the story. But yeah, now we're free to go. Ish.
And now we're gonna get up to a different kind of clipping. Here you can clip into this beam, kind of, but the camera will stay down and the Lara's body will go up, which is very confusing. So then Caddy goes to the edge of the building so that there's space for the camera and Lara's body to merge again, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
So basically we have to be in midair. As soon as we're in midair, camera and body are synced again. But I want to stay out of bounds, which is why I have to do this weird hop like over the ledge and then back onto the top of the bunker. And now we're just... so you can tell maybe you can tell, camera's quite close, it's not supposed to be like that. We bypassed a pretty important cutscene / trigger where we would meet the antagonists of the game. But now we didn't. And not all textures are loaded, as you might be able to tell. What is the wolf doing? Yeah, so this is not supposed to be like this, but apparently it's fascinating. And then we reload checkpoint to be out of combat, which allows us to sit down at our next bonfire. And upgrade our whatever it was into a climbing axe. And then we're supposed to use that to crank the valve open to open the gate. But we won't do that if Lara would clip correctly. Which she did.
Very nice. So yeah, you can also use the clipping on thicker walls to get on top of them if they're not too high. And we can do that there to skip the door, basically.
Yeah, and also if you would just do the door normally, you would have to follow that NPC there on this guy. And that would be forced slow walking, which is even slower than what I was in. Like I was still restricted in movement, I couldn't jump as you may have been able to see, but slow walking is very slow as you might guess. Oh yeah, also we got captured and our weapons got taken away. And now we have to not cutscene, but have to somehow get our weapons back, preferably, and finally find some survivors of our shipwrecked crew, but one step at a time.
Pretty sure she could get out of those ropes at any point if she really wanted to.
Well, how would she do that? Looks like she's rather restricted in her movement herself right now. Oh yeah, also this guy, it says speaking Russian, and he's kind of speaking Russian, but all our Russian viewers will probably be able to tell it's not really Russian. So basically for the English dub, they didn't use the Russian dub, but they had some guy speak something that resembles Russian very poorly. Which is a very interesting choice, because there is a Russian dub and pretty much all other dubs just use the Russian dub for this part. Yeah, anyways, so we get rid of our...
There we go.
We're no longer tied down. And we have a pistol, which we would like to keep.
Oh.
We kept our pistol. Very handy, and we
It was
also got our...
self-defense.
Exactly. And we also got our bow back, which is, I'm sure, something that happens somewhere, but I always skip the cutscene. And now we will get a tutorial fight for the pistol, which is absolutely scuffed if you don't headshot both guys in the first 2 seconds.
Or the flashlight.
Yeah, so the flashlight the second guy drops has collision, and it can intercept your shots.
What also has collision is this rock, and we can go on top of it.
And skip having to go through that building. So that would be a QTE kind of. Not really QTE, I guess. It's more like mash the E button. But yeah, that's
It's kind of a
slow.
tricky skip because there's a lot of death barriers around, and because of the clip or the way you go up the rock, it really wants to pull you back down. So it's really weird sometimes, but perfectly executed
Lara, are you there?
as expected.
Excuse me.
Smoke coming from the old road.
Yeah, so right now Lara's on the radio with Roth. He, I guess, was the captain of the ship. Not really much of a ship left now, but I guess he's still the captain. He's kind of like her mentor slash father figure, and she'll be in
Don't worry about
frequent exchange with him,
just do whatever it takes to get to me, Lara.
giving us some very useful advice such as get to me, Lara.
Yes.
So if you kill those guys with the pistol, they will not alert their friends, but if you kill them with the bow, they will alert the friends, even though the bow is a silent weapon and the pistol is not. Which makes sense. Just like this next
But-
part makes sense. Right?
In my first playthrough, I crashed.
Well, that's interesting, because I crash here
learned
every third run or something.
That is common.
Yeah, so the game might crash right now. And it crashed.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, can I get out of the game?
Legit
then?
run.
Can I actually have to task manager kill my game now? Oh my god. Yes, it's not responding. Very good.
Is this
Yeah.
also a check mark for being Souls-like?
I guess so, yeah. Don't worry. We'll be back in a few seconds. But I guess... Wait, no. Right. Screen shared on Discord. That's why I don't have to restart the screen share.
Ah, smart.
Smart. Yeah, totally not because I was forced to do it. Because Discord doesn't recognize the game itself because it's not in focus. Anyways, luckily there's a checkpoint right here. So we have another try. And it has happened a few times already that I crashed twice. No way that would happen now. See? So this is what it looks like if it doesn't crash.
I've never been this far in the game.
Well, yeah, so that's like a rather common crash. As Robbie said, it can happen during casual playthroughs. It also happens in glitchless. It happens in any like in glitch runs. It's just a thing that happens, and so be it. Anyways, now we're reunited with Roth, and we will abandon Roth. He's gravely injured after fighting off those wolves, and I guess after getting shipwrecked. And our goal is to get into the wolf cave and retrieve the radio, I think, or whatever they
Kamakura period.
stole from him.
Was all this part of your time?
We will
But
definitely make our
doesn't
way
need
there.
Doesn't Roth need medical attention?
Well,
Instead of a radio.
yes.
But actually, to get there... actually, we're not gonna get there.
Well, I
gonna
mean,
skip
this is the
it.
wolf cave there, but
With
that's
a certain
it.
very known glitch, very well-known glitch, called skywalking,
no, okay, I didn't get
which
it. Looked like it,
is very hard to get.
but trust me.
So you get this sliding
Oh my
animation
God,
down
what?
yes.
Yes, anyway, so the way you get the skywalk is
Maybe
you...
I need to explain it so that
Okay.
Kelly knows how to do it.
But this is
Hey,
slow,
you-
I'm not sure if we'll get this. Oh god.
You get the sliding animation
Okay.
down a rock, and then you pivot, and then your sliding down momentum gets mirrored, and you can go up instead. It's very like it gives you a very specific move set on on the rock, I guess, with like its own mechanic basically,
Yes.
which is really cool to play around with.
Yeah, it also is like every skywalk, so you will see a few of those. Nice animation cancel, by the way. Every skywalk you'll see, it's like unique in a sense that there is no universal like way how we do them, and especially once you're in the skywalking state, you need to learn every skywalk itself to know what buttons to press, where to aim the camera at, and so on. Which makes it pretty annoying to learn, because it will probably take a while to learn the first one, and then you're... Oh, I did it. Let's go, I can learn the rest of the run. Well. Not so fast.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it work now?
Also, the first one is one of the harder ones for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, every time you get to a new one, you have to... It feels like you have to relearn the entire glitch. But it's still fun, somehow.
Yeah, we also invaded an enemy base here, very stealthily, as you might have been able to tell. So we're on our way to a radio tower to call for help. But we're not there yet. This guy carries an explosive barrel, which is very nice of him. This
What
guy
do you need
might interrupt
help
us. Well, now he does need help with it. Also, this door luckily doesn't have any collision above it, and now we just collect this assault rifle. So, intended way is to like kind of blow up this entire part of the building, and then there would be a guy here stuck underneath the rubble, and you loot his assault rifle. But now it's just here before an ambush, which is very handy.
Flashbang warning, by the way.
Even though we don't really use the assault rifle. I mean, you can, but I don't. And now we have to flip here rather quickly, or else the enemies catch up with us, but we're through. And we will reload checkpoint here to get more XP, because we will soon level up at a bonfire. But first,
Pipe skip.
hopefully.
So there's a slight seam here between the rocks and that shelf or whatever. You can get inside of it, and then the game doesn't really know what to do. And hopefully it will push you into the corridor.
Yeah, that saves like 40
And
seconds
then-
of usually Lara would just very slowly go through that corridor there.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scripted slow walking
Yeah.
section. Here a cheeky reach around to go on top of this bridge instead of crossing it normally to skip a cutscene, and then also be out of bounds here to skip everything.
Fair enough. And hopefully soon reach that promised radio tower. Luckily, Laura's quite adept at jumping up mountains. We made it.
Okay, here goes.
I wonder how many degrees those metal bars are in temperature.
Yeah, that's why you should get up there rather quickly. I guess I can skip the cutscene now. This, it's illustrating the point. So.
Yeah, just go ahead and skip
okay.
it.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I think you can just skip it now.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Not sure why we're watching this.
Yeah, so remember that holding W tutorial from earlier. This is what it all led up to. Yeah, so we're holding W for a minute plus.
The great climb.
Yeah. This would be great if we could skip it, but we cannot. But instead we get to see some very interesting climbing techniques, I guess. Looks like we can't get any further.
Welp.
Better go
No
down
help for
again.
us, I guess. There's no way, like, you'll
What do you want to do? Jump?
okay.
Oh, right. Sure. Okay, I guess we jump. But interestingly, once we're at the top, we can skip the cutscene, so that's cool. And then we tune the thing correctly, and then we call for Mayday.
Ah, Mayday. Do you know where that word comes from, actually? It's French.
Oh, but that
For-
sounds rather English. That's
Aid
weird.
me.
Oh,
One way to get down.
The more you know.
Fuel tanks.
yeah. Luckily, it's a bit faster to get off the tower.
Need
It's
to find a way to light this fuel.
quite handy. And now we collect the fire striker. And we need to blow open that gate there, which we will do by blowing up these fuel tanks while standing right next to them. Which is a pretty good plan, I guess. I'm not sure if I will get it now. Okay, never mind. Funny arm stretching. And that brings us to the first sliding part, which is probably the thing most people remember from these games. Because they tried them for the first time in this game and they were very happy with them. So they used them for the next 2 games as well.
But what is the most iconic thing about it?
Yeah, I don't know, because like what happened so far is not really all that memorable, is it? What else could happen?
Well, I was referring to the death animations
Yeah,
you can get
exactly.
in this game. Oh, okay.
So, yeah. This, like, obviously, we kind of know where to go, but on the first playthrough, you might not know where to go on those sliding parts. And, yes, gives you some really interesting death animations if you don't go the right way. But I'll try my best to not show those off.
That is another category.
True.
The prestigious all death animations.
All unique death.
All unique deaths. There we go. That's a blessing to behold.
Alright, skywalk time, hopefully.
Yeah, this is my favorite skywalk, I think. This wall is really nice. Well, this is kind of tricky, but the next one is really nice. It's a really big wall and really lets you practice a lot of stuff. And you get speed really easily. But the tricky part here is hitting a low trigger mid skywalk, and then you have to land somewhat nicely. So the rope is one of the good solutions.
Also, that wall maybe exists. We bypassed a loading trigger, so everything here makes sense one way or another. Such as, by us crossing this river, we now obtained rope arrows, which is very handy because we need rope arrows right here. So we kind of abuse a fail-safe they put in there, where you just automatically get rope arrows. Thank you. And now we basically just made one big loop to get to the top of the mountain village. So obviously, since we're back here, Roth is back here, and we abandon him again. Into this.
This skywalk is... Wait, where are you going? Going so far?
Huh?
Oh. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. Don't. Okay, good. Never mind. All good.
This skywalk is kind of advanced. You need... at the start you need a lot of speed, so you're able to cross a gap mid-air. And this only saves like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's actually not really a sequence break. Otherwise, you would just use your rope arrows to create zip lines so you can shimmy up. But it's still pretty fast. And this skywalk, on the other hand, saves a bit more time.
This one feels impossible when you
Yeah.
first start out, at least to me. The start is really rough, and then you have to cross the waterfall with the trees, which get in your way a lot. And then you have to get high enough, and then also not die from this fall.
And
But when you get used to it, it's easy.
here,
Hey, Lara.
we
Told us about the
just
plane.
threw some
No worry
dirt,
to get
and
the
if you
other
look
way
at
up
the
this rock,
feet,
right?
they're not really moving, but we're moving. Also bunnies.
Tractor to some old Japanese.
White
Um,
flag in the chat.
I don't like the sound of that.
Hey, don't worry. She's probably
Nice.
just psyched out.
Yeah, so earlier, before the bridge that we crossed, before the radio tower, we sat down at a bonfire, and we got 2 skills.
These ruins predate
One that just allows us to take more hits, and the other one is called Dirty Tricks, which is what we did there, so the throwing sands thing. You can only do it after a scramble. And if you do it at the start of a walkie-talkie conversation, you get that weird slidey state, which in this case was actually faster than doing the normal thing, which is doing a slow walk, because she's on the walkie-talkie. Usually Lara slows down quite significantly, and we don't want that. Anyways, we're captured again.
So how high do you think this drop is?
Enough for Lara
Landing-
to survive
okay.
it. Clearly. Also, again, how to untie yourself. Just yank at it.
By sheer power of will.
And force, I guess. So yeah, we're in the Oni's lair, so you may have been able to spot that silhouette there. That's an Oni, and they feed on a lot of things, including humans, it seems. That's not good for us.
What happens if you turn back?
Well, funny you ask, because that actually would give you a unique death animation.
It's actually hilarious.
It's a pretty funny one, yeah. But
Also,
yeah.
gore warning. Very on time with that one.
Yes. So here we get our 4th and final weapon of the game. It's the shotgun. And it's very useful because it allows us to finish the game. So
It's
the
very visible.
yes, sometimes. Sometimes it also turns invisible.
Whoops.
So that allows us to break those barriers. And it's pretty good in combat.
They're looking for me.
So here another technique of going out of bounds is doing the bash skill on like these weird collisions that doesn't really allow you to walk on it, but if you do the bash, it will do the entire animation, which has movement in it. So you can get a lot of distance and then go out of bounds that way. Or walk on stuff you're normally not supposed to walk on. It's very nice. Now we're just skipping all these rooms that I don't even remember what they contain, but I'm sure it's faster.
Yes, that it is. But the level transition trigger is like at the end of this puzzle. So we have to solve the puzzle, but I'm using the word puzzle rather lightly here. So this involves pulling the pendulum with our rope arrows while having one of these sets of windows opened, so it smashes into those dilapidated pillars and breaks them, because the best solution to get out of this building is by completely and utterly destroying it.
Destroy it.
Speaking of destroying things, or people, I guess. Yeah, here you can see the potency of the shotgun.
No, stop destroying the building. I'll do as I want.
You're no one to tell me. Yeah, so shotgun up close, pretty nice, for us at least. Here, if this works out nicely, we just have to open this window and the pendulum will still hit the big bell in the center of the room, which will happen, and audio warning, enjoy.
Turn the bell. I don't have audio, so.
Yeah, so the audio balance in this part is not existing. And now it fixes itself. Good morning, everyone.
Oh yeah, you would be able to skip the shotgun technically, but you
Yeah.
can't because of those things, right?
Exactly. I mean, there were also more of those later on, so
Yeah.
we kind of need that.
Are you there?
Yeah, guess what? We made another big loop and we're back in Mountain Village yet again. And as if on cue, Roth calls us on the walkie-talkie. But now we will make our way... Like, it's only a very short bit that we're here. Now we will make our way towards the shantytown, one way or another. Yeah, so to the right there, this is where we first surfaced, at least where we also Roth was attacked by the wolves, and so this is kind of leading you back towards this big hub, and now with the shotgun you can access this part. Yeah, and we will not go back anymore. Goodbye, Mountain Village. Now we'll sneak past these guys. Sure they haven't noticed us.
Very stealth.
No way around. I've got to cross.
Now let's just make it to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, we saw earlier that crossing rivers is good for us. So it should be
Almost there.
fine. Nothing that can happen. Oh. Hmm. I wonder what happens if you ram into
Just for
that
those
propeller there.
spikes.
Well, I will not try this time. And now we keep falling until we don't.
Safe. Or are
Shut
we?
up. Yeah, so this is very scuffed, even though it doesn't look like it. But also, I didn't fail. This is what the game wants you to look at. Yeah, so those trees have some kind of hitboxes, but I'm not quite sure who thought of them.
Let's just undo the parachute mid-air. That's how that works.
Yeah, so Lara's a bit banged up now, so she can't scramble or hold on to ledges. And you can tell because the screen goes grey. And we're supposed to get to that helicopter there, which would give us fire arrows and trigger some fights.
And medical supplies.
Which we clearly don't need.
So yeah, here's one of those weird clips again, where the camera gets stuck and the body goes up, but if you interact with like a ledge, if you force climb on it, then, well, or if you just climb on it, then it forces the camera up to Lara again. Which is nice.
And again, as a failsafe, by entering this cutscene, basically, we get fire arrows. Which is nice, but I need to reload checkpoint to have full movement again, and we're trapped.
Yeah, so let's just do this fight real quick.
Okay. Yeah, didn't think about that, I guess. Got them.
Forgot you were doing a pacifist run.
Yeah, so this brings us to Shantytown Skip, which is by far the biggest sequence break and also the biggest or longest skip you have to complete.
Yeah, and obviously we start off by going out of bounds. Staying on the edge of the collision here. Here we can do one of those bashes again to get a bit higher, so we can start a skywalk here to get us even higher. And it's really quite nice that all of this just has collision. And here we're close to where we would end up way later, but it's a bit higher up now. So we'll go onto this wall that exists, but you can't see. And you need to get like a stumble to be able to walk on it. And then there's another rock, and then you do stuff, and you hope it works.
Yes. And
it's definitely one of the hardest tricks to learn, because it doesn't make any sense and you can't see anything.
And then we went into that tunnel, which is actually where we were supposed to come out 3 levels later, so we skipped 3 entire levels here. And yeah, that's definitely the biggest sequence break. Skips like 15 minutes at least, something like that.
It also skips some deaths of your friends, which is
very
good.
true, yes. And what you also saw there is I did the dirty tricks thing again, where I started sliding, but you may have noticed that once I slid off the upper platform, I didn't fall down.
Whoa.
Which is, I guess, just a cool visual trick.
But you didn't even have to parry.
Wow. So not a Souls-like, goddammit. Yeah, so now we're taking the gondola to reach the beach eventually.
But you can't have too high FPS on here.
Yeah. What will I do? Oh.
Time for a couple quick donations.
Just a second. So I'll go into dirty tricks because at the start or after this loading screen, there is another instant walkie-talkie. I will start an airwalk. It lasts for as long as this walkie-talkie lasts. And that gives me just enough time to land on top of this next pylon here, hopefully. And we can only do this with locked FPS because that reduces our fall damage. And enjoy the ride and the donations.
All right, good stuff. I'm loving this run so far. The commentary has been on point. That being said, we're here raising money for Save the Children, which is an excellent charity and excellent cause. And we have raised over $2,100. That is absolutely incredible for the first day. But here we do have some donations. We have $93 from Cast92 that says, 3 cheers for Cadarev, the greatest transistor runner to ever have lived.
Thank you, Kaz. I doubt that since I'm not even world record holder. I mean, what?
We also have $20 from Carnate that says, good luck for the runners and for another amazing event. Wide vibe.
Wide vibe indeed.
And good news, we've actually hit that Demon Souls incentive, so we are going to be able to see Michin be able to fight King Doran only using a melee weapon. So thank you so much for all those donations to get that met. That's incredible.
More Demon Souls is always good.
Yes.
And we still have some amazing incentives open. We do have one that's going to be coming up for the Devil May Cry 5, which is going to decide which costumes actually end up getting used for the characters. So currently in the lead is the EX costumes, and it's only in the lead by $5. So if you'd like to see the default costumes, you can just donate $6 and be able to push that bid war up. But yeah, thank you so much for the donations, and they are all going to charity. 100% of the money that ends up getting donated during the Speed Souls Marathon is indeed going to Save the Children. So thank you so much.
Thank you indeed. Keep them coming. We made our way to the beach. One way or another.
Time to relax.
Stuff happened. But now it's too late to look back. We have to look forward. Or upward.
And upwards we shall go.
Hopefully.
So this skywalk is
Terrible.
unique in that it doesn't let you see where you're going or your character at that point. And there's a very small space where you can cross this gap.
Oh god, how... What?
Okay.
Never been with that.
That's one way of doing it.
Holy moly.
The preferable way is being on top of this building so you can hit the loading trigger without clipping.
I want to clip, but I haven't done this in a while, and Lara doesn't want to clip. Yeah, we like want to partially clip through this barrier, so you're supposed to obviously enter that way with a few more upgrades than what we have. Okay, finally. But we don't have those upgrades, so if you were to clip through that barrier, you would basically soft lock yourself, and we don't want that either, so you only want to partially clip inside it. And what we're doing here is slightly skipping ahead to get a bonfire, and in this game, just like in most Souls games, you can fast travel between some of the bonfires, which we'll later use to fast travel back here. So we kind of just peek in here, clear the enemies, and now we fast travel to the beach, which, like, we were not there at the bonfire, but it automatically was unlocked once we kind of got into this area. Why am I doing this dumb jump that is not even saving time? Whatever, now it's too late. I'm committed.
Bore.
Oh. Anyway, so I think you want to tell the good people how this is a huge detour I don't have to make.
What are you doing?
Right? Exactly. Sorry,
so
muscle
this is
memory.
An optional path you could take to get a bow upgrade, which lets you cross 4 individual gaps that are needed to be crossed. But you can also cross them using very difficult skips and glitches and tricks.
Excuse me. There we go.
Which have not made it into a run yet, unfortunately. But it is possible.
Yeah, some very cruel person decided to find those skips, and 2 of them are, well, one of them is impossible real time. Another one is as good as impossible.
Improbable.
And 2 of them are doable. So
Yes.
that's why I at least still go for the bow upgrade.
which is fair.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robbie was the one who
So-
found the skips, by the way, so that's why it's his job to elaborate on it.
Yeah, it was just really fun to see if it was possible.
Yeah, sadly, it is. I mean, luckily, it is.
Yeah, and now that we know it is, it's kind of cursed. But maybe like a segmented run or something.
Yeah. So now we got the bow upgrade at the campfire, and now we use the bonfire back, and I want to interact with this. Please, thank you. Yeah, this is the bonfire we unlocked earlier. There is a puzzle you're supposed to do here with an elevator, but we can also just not do it by clipping through this mesh. This guy is in our way, and this guy will shoot at us and hopefully not destroy us. And here is supposed to be a pretty long fight where you're like encircled and get attacked from all sides, but hopefully we don't hit the fight trigger but clip on top of this platform, which is as intended, as you can see.
You can hit the fight trigger?
Yeah, I did that like
Ah.
once before ESA, and ever since I have nightmares. It's like the most stressful thing in the run. Because obviously as soon as you trigger the fight you also get a checkpoint, so you can't go back and
Oh,
try
yeah.
again, which is fun. Speaking of
That
fun,
does
slow
sound like
walking.
fun.
Slow walking is very fun.
Just some time to relax.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden get a call by someone we haven't talked to with yet, because we may have skipped a few things here and there.
What's happening?
But yeah, there are a few more characters in this game, usually, maybe.
I've got to get back there.
Two of them are waiting for us at the beach, and they're currently attacked by the bad guys. Because there is a story to this game, allegedly. There's also supposed to be aim in this run. Allegedly. Oh my god, they're destroying me. But I destroyed them first.
And you, in turn, have destroyed them.
Yeah.
So one of those characters is Jonah.
Yes. He
and
is the.
I don't like him.
Well, that's rude. He's the cook, the chef of the, well, former ship they were on. So he's like a very integral part of the crew. You can't just not like him.
Well,
Is there any reason?
it's not that I... Maybe. That
Oh,
will be
I see.
unfolded later.
I see. Yeah. So there's also Reyes, who's the mechanic. That's her. And they have... That's Jonah, who's clipping into the pier.
Classic Jonah.
Always clipping. Just knock it off. Not like I'm clipping. So. Yeah, so basically for the main... Like after the initial part, the main story is kind of revolving around Lara's friend Sam getting kidnapped by an evil cult on this island to be sacrificed to calm down the sun goddess that's inhabiting this island. And to save her, we have to fix this boat that allows us to travel upstream and into the enemy fortress. So obviously all of that happened at some point.
I'll need you and Reyes to guard the main entrance while I
Robbie,
go in
please
on
enjoy.
You're going in there alone?
More people means more
At least I don't have audio.
I was about to say,
Taking
goddamn.
out as many of those bastards as you can. It won't just be the Solari
Yeah,
either.
so
They'll
Jonah
be
has a
all
very
over.
interesting way to address Lara,
Look, anything that
because they're
leads
close or
Sam,
something.
shoot it.
My little bird. This isn't goodbye.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's a thing, and he will also call her his little bird in the other two games in this trilogy, so they were really happy with this character trait. Yeah, so there they discussed on how to best save Sam, who's the kidnapped friend, and the best way to save Sam is by
Killing everyone.
yes, by having Lara go in there by herself and blowing the whole thing up. That's a pretty sound plan.
Yeah, this game is basically like the trolley problem.
Wow, that's an interpretation I haven't heard so far. When you think
It's like-
about it.
They are like sacrifice one to save everyone. But Lara's like, nah, let's do the opposite.
Yeah, here I will use the fire arrows, which is the only application for them in this run, to set this debris on fire from a distance. Then I will shoot my pistol to alert this guard, which will shut the door here, which in turn blocks the reinforcements from coming in, which makes that fight very short. And
How it's scripted to go is that there's guards on patrol there that enter, and then the door closes. But
Mhm.
you can close them before the guards get there. Very nice.
And this is another stealth segment. Interestingly, when you get there the first time, you can roll through the area, despite rolling usually being considered a loud action. But if you reload checkpoint, it doesn't work anymore. Yeah. So now we're approaching the first and only elongated sequence of fights. And we summarize it by calling it the big fight. Because it's a big fight. The only real fight we have in this game.
And it's big.
Yeah. Definitely is.
And still
And we can't skip it.
But it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because when Caddy and I started running this game, it wasn't really optimized that well, I don't think.
Mhm.
But we kind
This is not the big fight, by the way.
Kind of got
This
some
is-
nice strats for it.
My god.
Oh, this is going well.
This is a prelude.
How can they be alive after all this time?
Yeah, so you saw 3... what are they called? Goddammit. Storm gods, there we go. Which are the, like, ancient guardian people of the sun goddess. They have armor. That's not cool, because now they take 2 shots. One to remove the armor, and another one to get rid of them. So that slows down fights with them significantly. Same thing for the bow guys. There are also some guys with lances and shields, but all like take 2 shots pretty much, except for special cases.
Yeah, when they are in midair, you can one-shot them, which will be relevant soon.
Or if they happen to stand next to a explosive barrel. But yeah, so this fight has 3 phases. In the first one, like, we just wait out this like initial part here and get knocked around by explosives. So we have to kill 4 of the melee guys that will jump over now. So should be a second one. Nice teleport. Okay, that works. Okay, where are the other ones? Okay. 4th one? Of course he didn't run past them. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, that's the first phase. Second phase, I need to kill 3 specific archers, and then the remaining melee guys that will follow me. I will try to get rid of the archers as quick as possible. So that's 1, that's 2, and the 3rd one is here. And now I will lure the Naginata guys over here. This will trigger an ambush that will turn against them. Luckily, they also stuck the tower with explosive barrels, and that way we can blow everything up and get a checkpoint and reload.
And you can kick explosives if you didn't know that.
Yeah. And now we're in the 3rd phase, the final phase, and this is where the mid-air thing comes into play. One more. Yes. This is looking good. So there are just 3 more guys dropping down here, hopefully. At some point. What are you doing? Don't throw that. Just... Okay, he didn't die. So he might interrupt me. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. So that's
Very nice.
big fight.
You could get up there without doing the fight, but the triggers don't let you skip it.
There's also this guy, but in the cutscene something happens and then he's not here anymore.
So this room has 1001 ways to skip it, and we'll do the fastest one,
Hopefully.
and also the newest one, I suppose. So using the door, you can get out of bounds here, and then drop down and walk around the room with the collision that it has there, and then just kind of keep doing that to go all the way around. Here you have to force yourself into like a seam and roll through it, and then skip the room like that.
Yeah, and actually we have to skip the puzzle there, because what you're supposed to do is like you're supposed to make a big pendulum appear and then smash it into the gate. But we don't have the upgrade that allows us to pull heavy objects, so we can't do that. What we can do though is get to the point of no return. And we have to get all the way up there.
You just skywalk up there.
Hmm.
Actually, here's the first, or the third gap you would have to skip if you didn't have this bow upgrade. And this one is the most unreliable one, because you have to ascend on these things that make you slide down.
Ah, yes.
So you keep on jumping and then sliding down, but jumping more than you slide down, which is fun.
Just like climbing is in this game. Everyone loves climbing in this game. It's very intuitive and reliable. Just like gates in this game work very reliably, as you can tell.
Very secure.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, everything is falling apart, I guess. Also, screen shakes are very fun, yes. Here we're supposed to use another upgrade that allows us to zoom up these zip lines, but we don't have it. So we have to actually use a setup here to land on this beam, because otherwise we would overshoot it if we didn't slow down there for a second. Yeah, and then it's just a bit more
Thanks, Reyes.
climbing.
Get to the boat.
Nothing that could go wrong.
We're not leaving without you.
Or so I heard.
Yep. Smooth sailing here, my man. Except for the climbing, I guess.
Yeah, climbing is no problem except for the climbing.
One trick you can do here is not holding W when you want to go straight up, because then the wind doesn't apply to you.
Which makes sense, just like the screen shakes makes sense. Yeah, so we'll see, especially at the last wall I will climb, but not this one. Lara will, or like, if I was not jumping without directional input, it would like push Lara. What am I doing? Wait, what am I doing? I forgot how to play the game. Yeah, Lara would be like pushed and forced into different, like all different kinds of directions, but by just neutral jumping, it shouldn't happen, or at least not as much. But yeah, this wall is the final one, and this is like where people really start to not appreciate climbing in this game. I'll take this safely.
You get some weird animations not holding W.
And then we're
There
at
we
the
go.
final boss fight.
And this is a whole arena which is a circle, which you could do counterclockwise and spend a lot of time. But if you go clockwise, you don't have to do any of it.
And that brings us to the actual final boss fight, which is a QTE, so time is coming up soon. But yeah, there was supposed, like, you're supposed to basically run the gauntlet there, like multiple waves of enemy and the actual boss fight before this one, but by using that pillar there, we can just make it across clockwise, crossing the gap and getting to this part where now Lara will have her trademark dual pistols, which we will never use again. And once this guy is dead, it's time, which is now.
GG.
Thank you.
Great enemy felt. Or something.
Yep. Yeah, that was the good Tomb Raider of the trilogy. Very fun run if you're willing to learn how to skywalk, which you should be willing to because it's a genuinely fun thing to do. Right?
Right.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of what makes this game fun. So.
exactly. Yeah,
Very good.
Lara saves the day, I guess.
For
Only
one individual.
Exactly. Only Jonah will ever make an appearance in the remaining games, so that worked out. Yeah, but that's Tomb Raider 2013.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Cadarev, on the Tomb Raider speedrun. That was an excellent run. And Epic Dude Guy, thank you so much for joining on comms.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries.
That being said, here at Speed Souls, raising money for Save the Children, we are going to be taking a short break. But don't go anywhere because we have two things coming up. The first one is that we have a special video because we were able to cross that $2,000 benchmark. So we will be showing a Souls Salt video that was made by Call Me Zero, specifically created to celebrate Speed Souls and for us to show at SCM itself. And that being said, after that, we'll take a short break and we will be featuring D Cosmic with a run of Gungrave any %. So don't go anywhere.